Located on 225 acres in Garden City, Long Island, Nassau Community College, a member of the State University of New York system, has close to 20,000 students attend the school each year. The college mascot is Leo the Lion, and these are his stories of the school's absolute best and brightest who have graduated over the past 50 plus years. So let's catch up together as the Alumni Association of Nassau Community College proudly presents Lion Tales on the voice of Nassau Community College, 90.3 WHPC.
Welcome to Lion Tales. My name is Dr. Lynnda Nadien, and I am a director on the board of the Alumni Association at Nassau Community College and a proud graduate. I am here to celebrate the successes of our alum, and together we will share stories that will inspire, uplift, and often amuse you. Each week, I will introduce you to alumni of Nassau Community College interested in sharing their experiences while attending the college and the secrets to their success. Look for many new and exciting events on the Alumni Association social media pages, Facebook, Instagram, and our webpage at ncc.edu/alumni. Or find me on Twitter at Dr. Lynnda Nadien. Did you know Leo the Lion is the mascot for Nassau Community College? Lions are ruled by Leo and fire. The male lions represent pride, while the females stand for teamwork. Together, we are Lion Tales. And today we would like to welcome our guest, Ro Armand, class of 2016. Ro began her Nassau Community College journey in 2009 and graduated with an associate's degree in communication arts in 2016. Ro was interested in a few majors to study, including liberal arts, hospitality, and international business. Once taking a public speaking course, Ro fell in love with the art of communication, and that became her major. Ro was a student volunteer for 90.3 WHPC and was on the air as a part of the Nassau Morning Mix. She is interested in doing her own show and is currently pursuing a nursing degree, as she believes she can have dual careers. Welcome to Lion Tales, Ro Armand, class of 2016.
Yes, hello. How are you?
Hello, I'm so happy to have you.
Thank you.
So we shared some exciting news, and maybe you can share that with our listeners as well.
Yes, of course. As much as day by day, there's been challenges that we all face, but I've learned to not give up on myself, and I realize that no matter tries that I do, I realize, hey, just get up on your feet and don't give up. And this time, as of today, I finally passed my entrance exam so I can become a nurse practitioner.
That is such incredible news. And, I think it goes to show you, too, that you're doing a lot and you have so many varied interests and you're able to make it come to fruition because you're working really hard to do that. And the beauty of it seems to be that, Nassau Community College was so helpful in that transformation for you. So can you tell us about your decision to attend Nassau and how that started for you at the beginning in 2009?
Yes, 2009, I started in liberal arts, and then I started switching majors. I went into hospitality because I love food, restaurants, so I figured let me open my own business one day and learn the aspects of having your own business and hospitality-wise, but it came to the point where it wasn't something I wanted to do long term. And same thing with international business as well, because I do love to travel. And once taking a course in a communication class, public speaking, you stood up in front of the class, you had to speak to people, and I just enjoyed that. And I feel like it became more of who I am at the end of the day. And I started taking classes in radio, and I fell in love, and I started taking communication art as my major, and I love that a lot. And I'm glad that I pursued in that major because I don't want to give up my career as a radio personnel and also being in the healthcare field because I do love talking to people and helping people. So I want to combine all of those together. But yes, coming here at Nassau Community College helped me really find my niche more and putting those pieces together.
Yeah, we noticed that the successful alum that have come back and have been guests on the show, everyone has, let's say, like a legitimate career where they're either a nurse or a police officer or they're a teacher, but their side passions are radio and art and creativity, photography and music. And it's so incredible to see that we have such an array of talents with our alum and people that are coming back to Nassau, coming to Nassau for the first time, taking classes, and how it helps you blossom. What were some of your favorite courses? You did say oral communication. I think I had oral communication, but there is a communications class that I know was really, I remember taking that as well. So what were some of your most memorable courses?
The radio production course, because that's where you were actually able to speak through the microphone and do some edits and also learn Adobe software.
Oh, that's, yeah.
Yes.
And now the software so you learned how to work the board because I was watching you before and because you do have your own show.
Yes.
And so you were playing that. So what are some of the tricks to that?
I love how you would list up your songs and then you have to kind of cue some songs. And the favorite thing that I love doing is if you want to hear how a certain sound, depending on the song, sounds before you play it, you would kind of cue, and like there's like a button where you press cue. You could still listen to it, but it wouldn't be aired. So that's another trick as well that I also learned from Sean Novat, who's the program director of WHPC, and it just helps me multitask on the tool board, and I just love that a lot. And in the radio production class, they teach you that as well. And they also taught me how to do it in CDs and how you save your files on there.
Yeah, that's really interesting to know, too. And I think, it's good to have that the technology part down, but at the same time, when you're producing your own show, and are you thinking about it? Are you writing it down? What are some things that you do prior to coming on the air and recording?
I like to prep. And that's one of the advice Sean gave me as well. You want to prep because you can hear the difference between prepping and just winging it. And sometimes when you're winging it, you can just be repetitive. You can be bland. The audience might tune away. But when you have something prepared, you have at least 3 topics that you want to entertain your audience. You have things you want to talk about, some facts, things about your life. Audience like to hear about that. But the fact that you have it prepared, it makes you prepared to be on the air and for you to talk more naturally on the microphone instead of just biggerish and not having nothing in front of you to know, what you're going to say. Right.
I think, framing it out kind of in your mind, but then laying it out. I always have like a little notebook with me.
Yes.
And on the phone it says notes. So, and now if I hear a word or I hear like a phrase, I'm sort of putting it in notes so that I'm like, I don't know, maybe I could use that later on. So who were some of your most memorable professors? Do you remember? I know we forget the names, but did you have Professor Wise for sociology, or you might be too young?
No. That I can't really remember my professors. Wow.
Yeah. You know how you're sitting in the class with all the students and you're looking at them and you know them and you're with them for 15 weeks, but now you can't remember who they are. It's so funny.
But everyone here, as far as the professors, they're very nice. Even the tutors, they help you as well with any help you need and any courses. I just loved it here because I know math was like my weakness here, but I still got through it. Yeah.
Yeah, that's really important to know. Explain the current work that you're doing.
Current work I'm doing, I work for a hospice department, so working with elderly people, and I love it. Day to day, you just visit them, you talk to them, you help them out, whether if it's laundry or preparing meals, and I just love it. Sometimes they need that because sometimes most of these people don't live with their husbands or wives or families. They're by themselves. Yeah. So us coming into their life plays a big part in their life because it's like, wow, I have help. But not only that, I have somebody that I can talk to and relate and someone to make me feel comfortable that it's not the end wherever position they are.
Right. And you become an important part of their life. Now, as far as nursing is concerned, to me, I feel that essential workers are it's outstanding, and the dedication and the time and the hours that you put in. So tell us a little bit about your passion for the nursing program. And now that you are officially in, what do you think that will bring to your life and to others?
It will bring such an amazement because I'm not like one of those people that goes into something for money, even though people say like, yes, it's a good job, starting salary. I more love it because I love helping people and I know that there's different routes in it. And I call myself a hero because at the end of the day, I let people know what they need to hear as far as advice that they need. People come to me for advice and they just love that. Or I'm very patient with myself and my patients, and that's what they love, because at the end of the day, there's not a lot of nice people out there. Whatever career you do or anything, you could be a milkman and may not be the nicest milkman on the planet, but at the end of the day, it feels good to like have that one bond of person, like, wow, this person is nice and they make a difference. And I just hope to make a difference in anyone else's life as well.
You are listening to Lion Tales on the voice of Nassau Community College, 90.3 WHPC. My name is Dr. Lynnda Nadien, and our guest today is Ro Armand, proud Nassau Community College graduate, class of 2016. So describing your vision of coaching and working with individuals with alcohol or substance abuse problems, which is, so needed in society today. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yes, it also plays a role on me continuing to help people. And during that class, I would talk to one-on-one students on how their past is. So the professor could give us a topic on, how is this student's life impact on yours, whether if it's a family member or not. And there have been some students that's been going through a lot in their past. And at the end of the day, it hurts. Some of them cry, but just hearing the pain through their voices is like, wow, one day I would love to be a coach and really help the ones in need and also let them know what's right and wrong in life and what they need to avoid. Because I always tell everybody, positivity is key. Stay away from anything that's negative, because a little drink, it's still negative, especially if you're hanging around with the wrong crew or wherever you came from in your background, or if your family is drinking or smoking, you kind of want to stay away from that. You don't know how far it will get to you. And also in the healthcare field, it's just not good for your health, because you don't know how old you'll be. And the more you do this, it can affect your personal body and yourself.
Yeah, and we speak about, really the dangers of alcohol, because alcohol is so readily available and it's everywhere.
Yeah.
And so a lot of times it really can wreak havoc on the body. And when you're very young, if you start drinking at a young age, how do you sort of make sure that young people stay on that, a positive path, so that they don't kind of veer off and choose alcohol or choose drugs as like a way of life when they're so young, teenagers? Yeah,
I feel like for the younger age and this generation as of today, go to a coffee shop, spend some time there, because in a coffee shop, you're not going to find liquor, you're not going to find vodka there, scotch, the whole 9 yards. You're not going to find it there. So hang out with your friends there, go to Starbucks or Dunkin' Donuts, just somewhere where it's so cozy and you could talk about anything. And it just makes you think, as you get older, if there's a social occasion, you could have a glass of wine or something, but at least you think back like, wow, I'm glad I'm not one of those drunk kids, because thanks to this person, I'm able to be around something that's positive. And you want to have pride with yourself, because you don't want to follow what other people are doing. You really want to follow within your heart and your health at the end of the day.
Yeah, and I hope that we're, working with a lot of students and a lot of young adults, the goal, I think, is to promote that self-worth, so that the choices and the decisions that they're making will be positive in the future. And as a healthcare professional, and also, as a future nurse, that that's going to be such a big part of what you'll do, because you're like a huge influence. So I always say, whenever you go into, an emergency room, or you see that type of setting and you see how much energy is going on, because it's so intense. The nurses work extremely hard. Yeah. And so what do you think the nurses' relationships are with the doctors?
I would say very busy. Yeah. Sometimes it could be one or the other. This person could be a pain in the butt, and then, vice versa. Or, I would look at it as more of pressure, because at the end of the day, the patients rely on you for medications and stuff. Then the doctor comes in, do the assessments and things like that. So, you have to learn to work as a team, but it is a lot of pressure. My oldest sister, she's a nurse, so I'm pretty sure she's going through it at the hospital herself. But at the end of the day, just her coming home, I always put some type of positivity in her head, because one day, I'm going to be in her position, and it's tough at the end of the day, but we have to learn to just be busy, keep pressure and look at pressure as a good thing, because she was also my healthcare influence in pushing me into the nursing field, because she knew I could do it. And here I am.
Yeah. And it's really great. So that's how how did you remain motivated to pursue then, dual careers?
I stayed motivated, ever since I was in high school, because I joined tons of clubs, the book club. I was even in bowling, badminton, I did kickball. I did a lot of sports.
Yeah.
And I also did some gym routines with my friends there in high school. So that was very fun. I stayed really active, and I told myself, I don't want to stop being active. I want to continue this. And even coming here to Nassau Community College, I stayed active. I joined clubs here, made friends, stayed in tutor sessions whenever I needed to. I really didn't follow anyone else, as far as there's people that want to come to school and then rush home. I more so kind of like still find my niche and still want to be me and not leave that. And wherever I go, people know, like, wow, she stay motivated. She is who she is. And that's what I want to stick to, because it kept me to where I am now, and it keeps me moving at the same time. It's hard because it's like you're dealing with multiple things, but I learned to believe in myself and not giving up. That's the hardest part. People do give up, but to me, I almost cried because, like, I didn't ace this first test. I literally had to go second rounds of it. And I'm like, I don't think I could do it, but I had to tell myself, don't give up. And, my motivation still stuck here, where it's like, wow, that term really hits home. Yeah, don't give up.
Absolutely. I mean, and there's been, so many times where, especially when there's an exam involved, a lot of people say, I would love to be a nurse. I remember my mother would always say, I would love to be a nurse, but I'm terrible at math, and I don't think I can pass the test. And I remember her saying that. And I remember my sister even saying, I have to take the civil service test, but I don't know if I'm going to do well on it. But there's got to be that like intrinsic motivation. And it's okay.
Yes.
If it doesn't work out the first time, you have the opportunity to move to the next time to do that.
Yep.
And again, at Nassau Community College, we do have the means to assist the students. And, that motivated you to try, all right, I didn't do well the first time, but I'm going to move on. I'm going to do it again. And that, stuck with you.
Yes.
And I think that, many schools, community colleges or universities have to build that up in students so they feel that confidence, because you don't want to give up.
No.
And, it really can be something that will give you that inspiration. Like, you got to hear the little voice in the back of your head saying, So is that how you approach your work each day? Pretty much?
Pretty much, yes. Smiling, just keeping it up, because the most important thing is keep smiling, because there's always that one person that's always willing to turn it down. And that's where people have to lift their heads up and know there's people that'll be jealous because of what you're doing and they can't do it. Or just keep smiling, don't give up, and keep positivity in your head. And that's what I've been doing, especially when I was in the wrong relationship myself, for quite a few years, and I realized it didn't work out and it was just bringing me down. It's the same thing. I had to learn to just get away from that negativity, learn to let go and love myself again, and just keep striving. And that's when I realized, wow, sometimes it's not really you. You kind of have to look at your surroundings and kind of like push things away. What's not in your circle shouldn't be in your circle. Yeah.
Right. I know. And it's hard to sort of come to the realization. Yes. And I think, throughout life, there are times where it sort of hits you and you say to yourself, you know what? I have to move into a different direction, and it's okay.
Yes.
I think moving in the different direction is one thing, but saying it's okay is the other part, and I think, again, having faith in God and knowing that, you're being guided, and not everybody has that faith. But I feel, and, I've learned throughout the years that when you do feel that, there's a magical quality, because you can feel that spirit pulling you toward a certain point in your life, and you don't know why, and you can't explain it, and then you kind of sit back and say, now you understand it a little bit better. So it really is amazing that we have that that part in our heart that will guide us.
Yes,
because we do need that, and I think as a human race that will help us. I think maybe we had it, and because of the pandemic we kind of lost it, and now post-pandemic people are sort of reevaluating and reassessing their own goals.
Yes.
And, that may include a lot of different things. And so the overlapping connections between nursing and radio, which we were even speaking about with someone else a little while ago, because education and radio overlap, and now nursing and radio overlap. How do you want to bring that to the fold?
Yes, I've always told people that don't be afraid to do more than one career, even though there will be someone saying, hey, you can't do it. If you're going to be a nurse, just do that. How can you do both? But ever since I was a little girl, I always told people this: watch me and I will prove it to you. Yeah. So that is just it. Again, I don't let no one talk me down into anything. It is what it is. I forgot her name, but we also do have a nurse on the station, and she has her own show. So, hey, if she can do it, I can do it.
Absolutely.
Yes.
And I think, too, recruiting people into the profession is very, very important. I mean, there's definitely a shortage of school nurses. And, one of the things, too, is that school nursing in an elementary school or high school, middle school, the salary is not good. But the quality of the nursing is very, very good, and it's very, very high. And so you want to make sure that, again, you can promote the field. Yes. And that you could say, well, maybe I will be a school nurse, but maybe I will work in the ER, maybe I will work, for just a doctor.
Right.
But doctors need you in their office as well. And, I think talking about it on the radio, maybe someone will hear and they'll say, hey, I'm going to study nursing, because Nassau does have an amazing program.
Yes, they do. Yes.
And now your program will be, tell us a little bit about the program that you just were accepted into.
Western Suffolk BOCES, actually. Yes. Sorry. Western Suffolk BOCES. Yes. I went to Eastern Suffolk. I didn't pass there. And then I went to Hicksville, which is Veeb, and I didn't pass there. So God bless that I passed in Western Suffolk BOCES. And this one is in Northport, because they have another one in Dix Hills. Yes, so they have two schools.
And what's some of the criteria for the program? Do you know? When will you begin, and what will
September.
you be doing? And
Yes.
What does that look like for September? Did they start right away with hands-on, or it's classes? Or
They do the hands-on the following year, where you're about to graduate, which is about, I think they do 3 months of the clinicals with that. So I will be doing the evening program. So that's Monday through Thursday, and that's going to be September up until mid-summer of 2024. And then you get a break, and then the following year again, that's where you do your clinicals. Yes, because the program is about 19 months. So somewhat around there, where you're about to graduate, but just a couple months before you do your clinicals. And then, yes, you have to graduate. Then you have to take your state board. So I still have more challenges to face, but I'm still going to continue to be motivated, still keep my niche. And as long as I have this, I know that I can do it. And moving forward, I know that I can accomplish anything in life as long as you put your heart into it.
Absolutely.
Yes.
And studying too, I used to always kind of try to read over as much as I can. And that's kind of an art form too. How do you study?
Yeah.
And, some people use index cards, some people use a notebook, some people just keep reading their notes over and over. I mean, there's so many ways to approach it, but as a test taker, I definitely always had that little bit of panic.
Wow.
Unless it was on something that if the topic that I totally love, if it was on the Beatles, or I would get 100. If it was on anything to do with music, I'd probably get 100. Pop culture. But when it came to academics, I had biology at this campus, and I loved the lab, and the professor, I can't think of his name, but he would say, "Oh, you're so good at this," and I'm like, "Yeah, but I can't." I was getting a 60 on every test because I just couldn't do multiple choice, but I could dissect a frog.
Oh my goodness!
So we have to learn about what kind of a student are we and what kind of study are we.
Oh yes.
What has been your main passion, interest post-pandemic? Now we're coming out of the pandemic, and we might be free to do something that we haven't done. So what are you looking forward to doing?
I still want to continue my radio, and also if I ever get a chance, I would like to work for other radio stations. And I love music, so I don't mind being behind stage if a celebrity was to sing. I've always wanted to dance for them, be their backstage dancers. I love dancing. I've always wanted to be in ballet. So that's something extra that I like to do. If not, and if if I don't get the chance, then it's okay. I mean, you could still dance wherever, right?
Absolutely. Yeah, you can still do it.
But yeah, I mean, as far as like my voice, which I do love, I don't mind working for other stations and doing events as well. Because again, I still love being with people, talking to people, and still, want to work on this because this was my number one passion and I love it. Yes.
Yeah. And I think that there's so many ways to grow because, again, radio and media there's so many outlets. How do you think social media kind of inspired, I guess, the respect of the healthcare profession?
Right.
How do you think, how do you think that happened?
I feel like it also help because people were able to see different clips on what people were doing, and there were people that was taking courses online. I also did the same thing where people wanted to know what was my coaching class about, and I would just post a couple of things on Instagram just to show people this is my visual board and what it means to me. And it kind of helped connect people. And I was getting messages like, hey, I'm going through something. Can you help me out? And it just helped because I felt like I was the coach and someone actually needed my help at the time being. And just with that, I feel like we have to find other ways and still have connections with people. With the pandemic going on and now post-pandemic, I'm just glad computers even exist because it's not like you could go out and talk to people face to face or get to them. So social media helped out. Instagram is one of my favorites because I'm more of a picture frame type of person and, like writing down little illustrations on what is this about or just adding little notes here and there. And people connect to that more importantly. And, people send their own messages back and forth in their videos. And also when it comes to Zoom, it's easier that way because you can kind of share what you've also post on your social media onto there, and we would have meetings together, and that helps out a lot. Yeah.
And then do you believe that everyone, upon high school graduation should pursue a college career, or is it not for everyone? How do you feel about that, at this point in your career, in your life?
I feel like as far as it is who you are, because at the end of the day, I know there are successful people out there that didn't go to college. So it is based on the personnel's choice if you want to go to college or not. I still feel like people don't need to give up. Do what you love to do as far as if it suits you, it benefits you in all types of ways. Even now, things have gone up as far as prices. So as long as you're financially taken care of, which is more important, and also just loving your job, then I think people will do just fine. As far as the younger generation, just really find something that you can connect with and also a job security that you can have, because a lot of people lost their jobs during the pandemic, businesses, stores, shops. So if you were in the healthcare field, you actually stayed. So that's another tip I like to push people out there. If you kind of want some job security, you don't know what's going to happen in the next couple years, just find a job security that you know that's going to remain. You don't want to just have something for a while and then it's gone. But, still keep your passion, but also try to find something that's financially stable at the end of the day. I have two brothers. They didn't like school themselves, but one is a plumber and he's a construction worker. The other one is a security guard at the high school. So they did what they did as long as they were financially stable because they have families, they have their wives at home. So it really helped them out a lot.
I would like to thank our guest, Ro Armand, proud Nassau Community College graduate, class of 2016. How can our listeners contact you?
I do have Instagram, and it is naturally Ro_.
I would like to thank you for being our guest today. My name is Dr. Lynnda Nadien, and I serve as a director on the board of the Nassau Community College Alumni Association, and I am a proud alum. Lion Tales is also available as a podcast on iTunes, Android Podcasts, and Spreaker. More information is online at nassaucommunitycollegeradio.org. Thanks for listening to Lion Tales here on the voice of Nassau Community College, 90.3 WHPC.